Welcome to my channel, Official History of Coins Deep Dive into the world of hidden treasures. Today, we are not just looking at pocket change. We are holding a piece of American history that could be worth a small fortune. We are talking about the one and only 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, a coin that was born from controversy. First up, let's talk about the incredible history of this single coin. The 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar was not just another coin. It was a bold statement. It was the very first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical woman instead of a symbolic figure like Lady Liberty. President Jimmy Carter signed it into law on October 10, 1978. The government wanted to replace the bulky Eisenhower dollar with something smaller and lighter, something that would be practical for everyday use and compatible with vending machines. But when this coin was finally released to the public on July 2, 1979, it faced an immediate and harsh rejection. The public hated it. Why? Because it was almost the exact same size and color as the quarter, leading to massive confusion in daily transactions. People simply preferred the familiar $1 bill, and the Carter quarter, as it was mockingly called, became a colossal failure. It was discontinued shortly after, only to be minted again briefly in 1999. Now, because of this failure, the mintage numbers tell a fascinating story. The Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering 360,222,000 of these coins for circulation. The Denver Mint also produced millions, and the San Francisco Mint produced 3,677,175 proof coins. That sounds like a lot, right? But here is the secret. Within this massive sea of common coins, there are specific varieties that are incredibly rare and valuable. So is the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar really that valuable? The answer is a resounding yes, but only for the right ones. A regular, worn-out 1979p or 1979d dollar is only worth its face value of $1, but that is not the coin we are looking for. We are searching for the rare gems that make collectors go wild. We are looking for the specific coins that can fetch prices that will absolutely blow your mind. Let's start with the most famous treasure of them all, the 1979p wide rim, also known as the near-date variety. On a standard 1979p dollar, there is a noticeable gap between the date and the rim of the coin. But on the rare wide rim variety, the date is very close to the rim, and the rim itself is thicker and more rounded. This single design difference transforms a $1 coin into a highly sought-after collectible. In uncirculated condition, this coin can be worth between $25 and an astounding $1,000. But wait, there is more. If you have a proof coin, which is a specially minted coin with a mirror-like finish, you need to look at the mint mark. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins with an S mint mark. The 1979 S proof comes in two varieties, Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1 has a filled S that looks a bit blobby because the mint mark punch was worn out, but the Type 2, or clear S, has a sharp, distinct S and is much rarer. A 1979 S Type 2 proof, in perfect condition, can be worth up to $135. And if you want to talk about maximum value, let's look at the coins that have sold for life-changing money. The most valuable 1979p wide rim dollar ever sold at auction, graded MS67+ by PCGS, fetched an incredible $8,268.75 just recently in April 2025. But the absolute record for a 1979p dollar was set in 2014 when a specimen graded MS67 sold for an astonishing $15,275. And get this, a double denomination error coin, a 1979 dollar struck over a 1978 Jefferson nickel, sold for $13,200. These are not just coins. These are four-figure and five-figure treasures. So what is the maximum price you can sell one for? The sky is the limit. While a regular coin is worth $1, a top-tier 1979p wide rim in MS67 grade could easily sell for thousands. The PCGS price guide values a 1979p wide rim in MS67 at $1,400, but as we have seen, exceptional examples with beautiful tunning can sell for over $8,000. The maximum value we have seen is $15,275 for a standard 1979p MS-67. You might be holding a common coin, but you could also be holding a rare variety that is worth a lot of money. This is why it is so important to look at your coins carefully. That one coin in your pocket or that roll you inherited could be the key to a small fortune. The 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar is a coin that was once rejected by the public, but now it is a beloved prize for collectors. Imagine finding a coin in your change that is worth $15,000. It happens more often than you think. These treasures are out there, waiting to be discovered. Don't just spend your Susan B. Anthony dollars. Look at the rim, check the mint mark, examine the details. The journey of this coin from a failed experiment to a collector's dream is a story of hidden value. Its history is a testament to how something so ordinary can become so extraordinary. The government minted it to save money, but now it can make you money. So get your magnifying glass and start searching. You are looking for that 1979p with the thick rim and the date close to the edge. You are looking for that 1979 S proof with the clear, sharp S mint mark. These are the coins that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. The market for these coins is incredibly active. Great Collections, a major auction house, has sold over 3,800 Susan B. Anthony dollars in the past 16 years, with prices ranging from $6 to an incredible $13,781. This proves that there is a huge demand for these coins, especially the rare varieties. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. The 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar is a coin that proves that value can be found in the most unexpected places. It's a coin that was a failure in its time, but today it is a shining success for collectors. In conclusion, the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar can be extremely valuable. The maximum price you can sell one for is over $15,000, but it all depends on the variety and condition of your specific coin. So go check your coins right now. You might just be sitting on a gold mine. This single coin could be your ticket to a remarkable payday. Good luck and happy hunting. Next coin, the 1980 Susan B. Anthony dollar P, is a coin that has been underestimated for far too long. While many so-called experts will tell you this coin is common and worth only face value, they are missing the bigger picture entirely. This is a coin with a fascinating history, a controversial past, and a future that could surprise everyone. Let's start with the history, because this is where the story gets truly compelling. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was first minted in 1979 as a replacement for the bulky Eisenhower dollar. The United States government wanted a smaller, lighter coin that would be more practical for everyday transactions. It was a groundbreaking moment in American coinage because it featured a real historical woman for the very first time on a circulating coin. That woman was Susan B. Anthony, a pioneering leader in the women's suffrage movement. The coin was designed by chief engraver Frank Gasparo, who also designed the reverse, showing an American eagle landing on the moon. This was supposed to be the dollar of the future, but the public reception was ice cold from the very beginning. People immediately confused the coin with the quarter because of its similar size. Cash registers were not equipped to handle dollar coins, and vending machines rejected them. On top of that, there was widespread resentment against the Jimmy Carter administration due to high inflation, and people sarcastically called this the Carter Quarter. It was a complete public relations disaster. The mintage numbers tell the entire story of this failure. In 1979, the United States Mint produced over 800 million Susan B. Anthony dollars across all three mints. But by 1980, production plummeted to less than 1/20th of that figure, dropping to just about 42 million coins. For your 1980p coin, the Philadelphia Mint struck 27,610,000 pieces. That sounds like a lot, and it is, but it represents a massive decrease from the previous year. The public simply did not want these coins. By 1981, the only Susan B. Anthony dollars struck were those sold directly to collectors in special mint sets. The coin was essentially dead, but here is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Production resumed briefly in 1999 to fill a shortage of dollar coins for vending machines and mass transit systems. After that, the Susan B. Anthony dollar was replaced by the Sacagawea golden dollar. The entire run of this coin lasted only from 1979 to 1981, and then a small revival in 1999. It was a failed experiment, a coin that never found its place in American commerce. And that failure is precisely what makes it so interesting to collectors today. Now let's talk about the current value of your 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar. According to the NGC price guide, a circulated 1980p coin is worth between $1.05 and $1.35. That is barely above face value. But do not let that discourage you, because the story changes dramatically when we talk about uncirculated coins. In mint state condition, the estimated value ranges from $2 all the way up to $600. That is a massive range, and it all depends on the grade of your specific coin. The APMEX price guide shows that an MS63 grade 1980p is worth about $1.20, while an MS65 is worth $3.30, and an MS66 is worth $6.60. But when you get to MS67, the value jumps to $16.50. That might not sound like a fortune, but remember that these are just the baseline values for regular coins. The real money is in the eras and the high-grade rarities, and this is where your coin could be worth significantly more than you ever imagined. One of the most valuable varieties is the wide rim era, also known as the near-date variety. Some 1980 examples were struck with an era that widened the rim and crowded the date. These era coins are highly coveted by collectors. One 1980 wide rim dollar was recently selling on eBay for $600. Another example was listed for $575. Some of these era coins have been listed for anywhere between $150 to $250, with some even selling for $2,000 depending on the magnitude of the era. But wait, there is even more potential for massive value. Wrong planchet eras for the 1980 Susan B. Anthony dollar have sold for as much as $6,900 at auction. Imagine finding a dollar coin in your pocket change that is actually worth nearly $7,000. That is the kind of life-changing money that collectors dream about. These errors occur when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, like a nickel, cent, dime, or quarter blank. The wrong weight and composition make these coins instantly recognizable to trained eyes. There are also repunched mint mark varieties, known as RPMs, on Denver mint coins that can be worth $20 to $100 or more. Double die varieties on the 1980s business strike can fetch $20 to $75. Even high-grade specimens at MS67 can be worth anywhere from $100 to over $4,000. The condition rarity is significant because MS67 examples are scarce across all mints, and MS68 is virtually unknown for 1980 issues. Your coin could be one of those rare high-grade examples that commands a serious premium. Now let's address the critical question: can this coin be valuable in the future? The answer is absolutely yes, but with some important caveats. The Susan B. Anthony dollar is a historically significant coin as the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real woman. As time passes, historical significance often translates into increased collector demand. The coin also represents a failed experiment in American currency, and failed experiments tend to become more fascinating to collectors as the years go by. The mintage of 27.6 million for the 1980p sounds large, but consider that many of these coins were heavily circulated and lost, damaged, or simply worn out. High-grade uncirculated examples are becoming increasingly difficult to find. The NGC census shows that out of 1,776 graded examples, the average grade is MS65, with only 303 examples reaching MS67 and just 20 at MS68. The scarcity at the top end is real, and scarcity drives value. The market for modern coins has been growing steadily, and rare era coins have been setting record prices at auction. The 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar is still relatively affordable for most collectors, which means there is plenty of room for future price appreciation. As more collectors enter the market and seek to complete their sets, the demand for high-grade and era examples will only increase. The maximum value for standard 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar in pristine condition could realistically reach $600 to $1,000 in the coming years. But for error coins, the sky is truly the limit. Wrong planchet errors have already sold for $6,900, and there is no reason why similar errors could not sell for $10,000 or more in the future as collector interest intensifies. Wide rim error coins are currently selling in the $150 to $600 range, but as more people become aware of these varieties, the prices could easily double or triple. The key is that most people do not know what to look for, and that creates an opportunity for savvy collectors. Your 1980p coin could be hiding a valuable error that you have not even noticed yet. The future value of this coin also depends on broader market trends. The rare coin market has been experiencing a renaissance, with younger collectors entering the hobby and driving up prices for historically significant and visually appealing coins. The Susan B. Anthony dollar has a compelling story, a beautiful design, and a controversial history that makes it a perfect candidate for future price appreciation. Some experts believe that as the supply of high-grade examples continues to dwindle, the value will inevitably rise. The coins that are currently sitting in government storage are being slowly released into the market, but that supply is finite. Once these coins are gone, the prices will only go up. This is basic supply and demand economics, and it applies perfectly to the 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar. The current market value for a circulated 1980p is modest at $1.05 to $1.35. For an uncirculated coin, you are looking at $2 to $600. For a high-grade MS-67, you could get $16.50 or more. For a wide rim error, you could get $600, and for a wrong planchet error, you could get $6,900 or more. The potential is enormous, and the upside is practically unlimited. The maximum price your coin could sell for at this time depends entirely on its condition and whether it has any errors. If your coin is a standard circulated example, you are looking at $1.05 to $1.35. If it is uncirculated, you could get up to $600. If it has a wide rim error, you could get $600 to $2,000. And if it is a wrong planchet error, you could get $6,900 or more. The maximum value is potentially thousands of dollars, and that is a life-changing amount of money for a single coin. So what should you do with your 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar? First, examine it carefully for any errors. Look at the rim, the date, and the mint mark. Compare it to images of known error varieties online. If you suspect you have something special, consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Certification adds credibility and can significantly increase the value of your coin. Do not be fooled by people who tell you this coin is worthless. They're simply not paying attention to the market. The 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar has all the ingredients for future value growth: historical significance, a fascinating story, limited high-grade supply, and a growing collector base. The potential is there, and the rewards could be substantial. This coin represents a piece of American history. It honors a woman who dedicated her life to the fight for equality. It represents a bold experiment in currency design that ultimately failed, but left behind a legacy that collectors treasure today. Every time you hold this coin, you are holding a piece of that history, and that alone has value. The future of the 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar is bright. As more people discover the fascinating story behind this coin, the demand will increase. As the supply of high-grade examples continues to shrink, the prices will rise. This is not speculation. This is basic economics, and it applies to every collectible market in the world. Your 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar could be worth significantly more than you think. Whether it is a rare error, a high-grade gem, or simply a well-preserved example of a historically significant coin, there is value here. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. This coin has a story to tell, and that story is only going to become more valuable with time. The maximum value of this coin could reach $10,000 or more for the rarest error varieties. The current maximum selling price for a standard uncirculated coin is around $600. For error coins, the maximum is $6,900 and potentially higher. The future maximum could easily exceed $10,000 as collector interest continues to grow. This is a coin worth watching, and it is a coin worth holding onto. So take another look at your 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar. Examine it closely, research its history, understand its potential, and remember that sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones that everyone else has overlooked. This coin has been overlooked for far too long, but its time is coming. The future value of the 1980p Susan B. Anthony dollar is limited only by our imagination and the growing appreciation for this remarkable piece of American numismatic history. Second coin, the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar, is not just a coin. It is the crown jewel of an entire series, a numismatic legend that has left collectors breathless. While most people dismiss these silver-colored dollars as pocket change, the 1981 issue stands apart as one of the most significant and potentially valuable modern U.S. coins ever minted. This is the coin that serious collectors dream about, and if you have one, you might be sitting on a fortune that could change your life. Let's dive into the fascinating history of this remarkable coin. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was first introduced in 1979 as a bold experiment by the U.S. government. The Treasury Department wanted to replace the bulky Eisenhower dollar with a smaller, more convenient coin that would save millions in production costs. It was designed by Frank Gasparo, the chief engraver of the United States Mint, and it featured the portrait of Susan B. Anthony, a legendary figure in the women's suffrage movement. This was a historic moment because it was the very first time a circulating U.S. coin featured the face of a real woman, rather than the traditional allegorical figure of Lady Liberty. However, the public reception was an absolute disaster from the very beginning. People immediately confused the new dollar coin with the Washington quarter because of its similar size and color. Cash registers weren't equipped to handle it, and vending machines rejected it. The coin was a public relations nightmare. By 1980, the mintage numbers had plummeted, but the real story of scarcity begins in 1981. By this time, the public had completely rejected the coin, and the United States Mint made a radical decision. In 1981, the Susan B. Anthony dollar was struck only for uncirculated sets and proof sets. They were not released into general circulation. This immediately made every 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar a collector's item from the moment it was born. This is where the value proposition becomes incredibly exciting. The mintage figures for the 1981 issue are astonishingly low. The Philadelphia Mint struck only 3 million of the 1981 P business strikes. The Denver Mint produced 3 million of the 1981 D, and the San Francisco Mint produced just 4,063,083 proofs. Compare this to the 1979 mintage, where over 800 million coins were struck across all three mints. The 1981 coins represent less than 1% of that production. This is not just a low mintage, it is an extraordinarily rare event in modern American coinage. The 1981 P Susan B. Anthony dollar is officially recognized as the key date of the entire series. It has the lowest mintage of any circulation strike in the series. Experts at PCGS have confirmed that it is the second most difficult date and mint mark to find in high uncirculated condition. Only the 1981 S proof is tougher to find in the highest grades. This scarcity is the foundation upon which massive value is built. But the story gets even better when we talk about the varieties. The 1981 S-proof coins come in two distinct types, Type I and Type II. These varieties are distinguished by the appearance of the S mint mark. The Type I mint mark appears somewhat blobby, while the Type II features a much clearer, more distinct S. The 1981 S-Type II proof is one of the scarcest and most valuable coins in the entire series. Collectors actively hunt for these varieties, and they are willing to pay a significant premium to add them to their collections. Now let's talk about the current value, and I want you to pay close attention because this is where the excitement really begins. For a circulated 1981 coin, the value is modest, typically between $1.05 and $1.35. But that is only for coins that have been worn down by use. The real money is in uncirculated and proof examples. An uncirculated 1981 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar can sell for as much as $3,850. That is a massive jump from face value, and it shows the incredible potential that lies in high-quality examples. The demand for the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar is incredibly high. How many people want to buy it? The answer is thousands of collectors worldwide. The PCGS population reports show that collectors are actively submitting these coins for grading, and the competition for the top grades is fierce. The 1981p is the key date, and every serious collector of modern US coins needs one to complete their set. This creates a constant and growing demand that far exceeds the limited supply. The maximum value of the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar is truly astonishing. One of the most spectacular examples is the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar in gem condition, which sold for an incredible $21,600 in 2022. This coin was so perfectly struck that every detail of Susan B. Anthony's portrait was flawlessly defined. This sale proves that when condition is exceptional, the value of this coin can reach 5 figures. The market has spoken, and it has declared that the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar is a heavy hitter. But the potential doesn't stop there. Era coins from 1981 can command even higher prices. Imagine a coin struck on the wrong planchet or with a dramatic double die. These errors are incredibly rare, and when they appear, they can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. The maximum value for a high-grade 1981 era coin could easily exceed $25,000 or more. The sky is truly the limit for these numismatic treasures. The future value of the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar is exceptionally bright. As time passes, these coins become even harder to find in high grades. The PCGS population reports show that very few examples exist in MS67 or higher. As more collectors enter the market and seek to acquire these key dates, the competition will drive prices even higher. The 1981p is the key to the series, and keys always appreciate over time. The historical significance of this coin cannot be overstated. It represents a failed experiment in American currency, a moment when the government tried to change the way Americans used money and failed spectacularly. But that failure has created a fascinating story that collectors love. The coin also honors Susan B. Anthony, a true American hero who fought for women's rights. This combination of historical significance and numismatic rarity is a powerful driver of value. The current market for the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar is strong and growing. Auction records show consistent demand, and prices for high-grade examples have been steadily increasing. The Graysheet and NGC price guides show that these coins are highly valued by dealers and collectors alike. This is not a speculative bubble. It is a solid, established market with real demand. So what should you do if you have a 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar? First, examine it carefully. Look at the mint mark. Is it a P, D, or S? If it's an S, is it a type I or type II? Check the condition. Is it uncirculated? Does it have any errors? If you suspect you have something special, consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Certification adds credibility and can dramatically increase the value of your coin. Do not let anyone tell you that the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar is not valuable. That is simply not true. This coin has all the ingredients for significant value: low mintage, high demand, fascinating varieties, and a compelling history. The potential is enormous, and the rewards could be life-changing. This coin represents a piece of American history that is becoming increasingly rare and valuable. It honors a woman who changed the course of history. It represents a bold experiment that failed but left behind a legacy that collectors treasure today. Every time you hold this coin, you are holding a piece of that history, and that alone has value. The future of the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar is incredibly bright. As more people discover the fascinating story behind this coin, the demand will increase. As the supply of high-grade examples continues to shrink, the prices will rise. This is not speculation. This is basic economics, and it applies to every collectible market in the world. Your 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar could be worth significantly more than you think. Whether it is a rare type II proof, a high-grade gem, or a fascinating error, there is massive value here. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. This coin has a story to tell, and that story is only going to become more valuable with time. The maximum value of this coin has already reached $21,600, and that is just the beginning. The current maximum selling price for a standard uncirculated coin is around $3,850. For proof and error coins, the maximum is $21,600 and potentially much higher. The future maximum could easily exceed $30,000 or more as collector interest continues to grow. This is a coin worth watching, and it is a coin worth holding onto. So take another look at your 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar. Examine it closely, research its history, understand its potential, and remember that sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones that everyone else has overlooked. This coin has been overlooked for far too long, but its time has come. The future value of the 1981 Susan B. Anthony dollar is limited only by our imagination and the growing appreciation for this remarkable piece of American numismatic history.